Start again, just so that Lassie can hear us. Sorry about that, Lassie. Right, so we're going to do curtain walls. So as I said earlier on, before we turn the microphone on, that we need to take into consideration our centres and our module sizes that we're going to use. So in this case, we've got a 4 metre by 4 metre grid, so we're going to use like a 1 metre module, and on our section we had 2.760 to the underside, 2.970 to there, and 5.760 to the underside of the second slab. So they're the heights that we want to work our module to. So we've got, I'll write these down so I know, 5760, 3 metres and 260. Right, back to the floor plan. Back to our curtain wall tool. Right, so we've set our mullions up. Oh, we've lost it all. So now we need to, as I said, we're going to make these all the same. So we'll go back into all that again. So we've got 50 mils there, 250 here, 200 here, and we'll make that 10, 20. Do the same to these. 10 and 20, and turn that one into a generic 50, 200, 5 and 20, cool. So when we come back here, it's 250, so we want to make that 0. And everything now comes back to, lines up with our reference line, 200 mils out to the middle of our panel. Then we go to the normal controls down here. So where do we want it to show? All relevant stories. So, you know, if it's a curtain wall that extends across 3 floors, it'll show on floors 1, 2, and 3. If it's only 1, it'll just show on that. So seems we're just going to work on a double story curtain wall. We'll go on all relevant stories. And then we just probably want to tidy up our pins a little, just bring them nice and thin. So now the next thing we want to, all right, we want to change that 2 to 250 to match our panel mullions. So the next thing we want to go to is the scheme. So this is where we work out and set out how we want it to look and how it will then replicate itself as we stretch the panel along the wall. So the first box up here deals with the horizontal line, and the second box down here deals with everything going vertically. So we said we're going to work on, say, a 1 metre grid. So we can now say, like, let's make our panels 1 metre, and if we want to alternate, so like if we want to have a window and then a wall and then a window and then a wall, we can set that all up in here. So just say we want to do equal window wall and window wall type setup. We just need to do that. And so now we've got 2 panels, and what will happen now is whatever we do here will repeat in a double panel system. So depending on how many times or how big you want the pattern and how many times you want it to repeat, well, then you can add more panels through here. So you just insert a panel. So then if we had it like this, our panel would repeat on a 3-panel system. So whatever you do here. So let's just go get rid of that one, go back to our one, and then the same here. So now we want to say put in our heights where we want our horizontal transoms. So maybe we will start with, say, a panel going across at, say, door height, and then one at 2760, which was the underside of the floor slab above. So that's 212,660. And then our third one will be, say, at the floor height of the next floor. So that's 2760. So we want one at, what's that, 240. And then we can add another one. And we'll put that at 100. It's 100. That leaves us 760 to the top of our panel. So we'll make this one 760. So now we've got these panels here being on our ground floor level, this running through at the floor, and these two being on the second floor. So now we can then go through and work out what we want to do with our system. So you notice there when I clicked on that, it changed color. So you got a choice of two panels. This is being main panel, and this is being our distinct panel. So then we want to maybe do something like this. So we've got glass and then wall. So now we come to set up what our panels are. So we can choose basically our all sorts of panels, so windows, doors, customized panels, corner panels, and just panels. Just panel. Yeah, make it glass. So then we can choose the thickness of our glazing there. We can set it up to show 2D details at different levels. So as the detail gets smaller, different things are shown. So we can leave it at scale sensitive. So that means that if you do it at 1 to 100, it'll show sort of some basic stuff. If you come to 1 to 50, it'll show more, maybe even like the actual frame type shapes. So and then if you know like 1 to 200, it'll just show maybe a box with a frame. So we'll leave it at that.
What's the shadow casting?
That'll be for like when you're 3D, whether you want your this curtain wall to actually, or this panel to cast shadow. So if it's solid, whether it'll cast shadow. So if you're looking for some realistic 3Ds, leave that on. Otherwise, you can turn it off. Turning it off will mean that when you generate a 3D view, it'll generate slightly quicker because it's not calculating the shadow effect. Yeah, so really depends on what you're going to be doing with the model. Yeah. So I can just leave it on for now. We don't really need to change any of that at the moment. Hold on, yes we did. Because that's telling us we've got, that should be a panel, sorry. So we're going to make this glass. So glass surfaces. So if we just go to glass, and then for the distinct panel, so this could be the wall panel, we could make this thicker, make that the thickness of the, no, make it 200, make that the thickness of the frame. Change. We'll just make these white. And then if we want to be doing like a technical, glass facade with some spider fixings or something like that, we can even come in here and set all these up. We haven't got any junctions in this one. And then we can go OK. And now we want to place our wall. And we'll put it on exterior wall. Layer, where are we? That's not a very good template to have used. Okay, we'll use that. Okay. Now we can place it. And like a wall or anything that you can have the option of placing as a single straight line or as a polyline or curved or as a closed shape. So we'll just, for now, we'll try to do the polyline. So now you can come down here. And now, once I've finished placing it, it's asking me which side's the exterior. So here's my sun, so I want to put that on the outside. And it's positioning to the current story. So the top is 5760 to the current story, and the bottom is 0. Place. So now we've got our wall placed. Our modules haven't worked out that well yet. So now to edit it, we can either do it in 2D or 3D. So if we go E5. So now we've got our curtain wall in 3D, all ready to go. So now we can do whatever we want to it from there. So if we need to edit it, we can. So we can hide bits of it. So if we want to go and edit like panels, sometimes it's easy to hide things like the frame and junctions and accessories, anything that's not necessary if you've got them in there. And this is especially handy if you want to manipulate the frame in any way, is hide the panels, because quite often you're clicking between, and if you're trying to select that frame, it'll, the mouse slips to the side and you select your panel, so it makes it easier to know that you've got your frame and what you want to do with it. So now that we've got our curtain all set up, we can start now changing anything we want. So now we needed some doors somewhere. Those doors needed to go through the sides here, so okay. So now, say we want to put a door in through here, so we need to go and we want to make it a double door. So we've got this set up at the moment with two 1 meter panels. So first thing we want to do is turn on our edit, and then we want to get rid of that panel. We want to get rid of that mullion. And then, okay, we need to do a bit of manipulating in the corner here, so we need to actually panel, grab that, and then we want to just drag a copy of that along. So now it's just like working with normal elements, so columns and walls and things and pieces and things like slabs. So I want to drag a copy of that, so I Control-Shift-D, and we can just drag that along to whatever we want. So we want to make that, say, 1800. And now if I turn the panel back on, it's duplicated that panel into the corner and put another mullion in here. So now I can grab my panel and I tell it that I want to put in a double door. So then I can come into the double door and start manipulating that, sort of like a normal door object. So do I want to open it inside or outside? How far in or out? You know, we want it offset from the outside. And then how we want it to show in 2D and 3D as well, so whether it's open or closed. And then you can manipulate the dimensions of that door as well. So if you know pretty much what you've got, do a lot of the same stuff you can do with a door. Put a nice sexy door handle on it, or take it off. And then change the colours as well, so we've got that middle thing, so we want to make that black. So you can see it, and the leaf. So now we go OK. And that's because I've got so just make sure that the little box down here in the models is unchecked so that you can use these things to manipulate that panel. And now you notice here that it made that panel in the corner glass, so which would be a bit odd. So you can also then say, like, grab the parameters of the solid panel, same as you would for anything else. So Alt-click to select the properties and Control-Alt-click to inject them into, did I do that to the right object? Control-Alt-click, yeah, to inject them into the other element. And then I was going to say about moving the grid system. So if we go, once you've done your changes, then you can just exit edit mode there. Another thing you can do in here, actually, while we're at it, is see that one? Scheme. So if you want to start changing the shape of this curtain wall to like, and then maybe you've got a building that goes through it, so or a bit of the building that sticks out, and you want to create a hole in your curtain wall, but so you want the curtain wall to sort of continue around it. You can come in here. It's easiest, I find, to hide all these other things and leave your scheme grid showing. And then click on it, and then this blue thing is like the bounds of the curtain wall, so the actual outline of the curtain wall that you're seeing or that you're manipulating. So just say we wanted to take, say, these 3 panels here out on the ground floor. So you can then come in here and, just like any other editing thing, choose the add a node point and put it in. Oh yeah, did make it. And same here. And then choose to move the edge thing up to here. And if we go exit, so now we've created our hole in our curtain wall to do whatever we want. What else do we need to know? If we need to, we needed to change. Oh no, that's another thing. Right, go back to that floor plan. So just say you have, you're editing this in like a full 3D view with everything showing. So we've got the rest of the building showing, and you want to edit your curtain wall. Environment turns off and on everything else that you've got selected. So sometimes it's handy to have that turned on, so especially if you're working around some other elements. Other times it's easier to have it turned off and just be working on your curtain wall. So just flick in here and toggle environment on, off and on. And then you can do whatever you want. Now, one other thing was scheme setting. So we need to, it didn't sort of really place our mullions where I wanted them to be placed by doing it as one whole element. Probably would have been easier just doing it wall by wall, and then it easy to manipulate, but let's see if we can adjust those. So we come into the scheme. In the scheme, we probably needed to give some thought originally to where we wanted to start our pattern. So it gives you these options down here. So we can drag the origin to any location, position it at the start of the reference line segment. We can center it. Again, position in the middle of a grid pattern. And then we can have it at the end of the grid pattern. So that would have meant that the reference pattern would have started, on this wall, the last point I placed. So if we go to that one there, and how can we? Let's move in the. So that's now automatically shifted. It's starting from the center of the reference line. It might not be right either. Oh yeah, it's lined up now. So now I've got my mullions lining up with the centre line of my columns. Actually, another thing that's handy to know too is sometimes, okay, you've set your pattern up, but you want to make some minor changes to some of the panels. So, okay, while you want the pattern to be repetitive, generally, you might want to break some panels up for some reason or change the size of a panel, things like that. So you can come in here and grab these and just say we wanted to make that 1.5 size for some reason. You just grab this line and move it around. And if I think we can copy as well. No, we can't. No, just manipulate. But then, okay, if we want to then add more, so now that's automatically, there we go, closed that one up, made this one bigger. Now if we want to add some extra ones in, I'll get rid of those panels again. And so I can come here, choose a mullion, and you can either manipulate, like if you choose this one here, it will select all of the mullions in that segment horizontally, or you can select the whole vertical mullion. So we can select that, and we can drag a copy of that out. And so now that will have created some new panels. You can then take out just bits and pieces. So now maybe you now want to make the pattern a wee bit more random. So you just want to take that one out. Take that one out. Where are you? I'll take that one there out. And then if we want to change that corner one to solid, we can bang there. And then you can get fancy, you can start, changing the shape of the top of it. So if we had just basically like we showed you before, so with these blue lines here, we could now, start we can go down. Now sort of reshape those if we needed to for some reason. And now our wall has a slope on it. So that's pretty much how you can set up a basic curtain wall. I think it's as long as it's not too complicated, it's probably best to keep it as like a single, especially if the pattern is going to be the same throughout. So keep it as a single element rather than 5 or 6 different pieces of curtain wall. It just makes it easy to manage in the long run. That's probably really all you need to know for now. So yeah, thanks. If you've got any questions.
We could change the panel type from the curtain wall options. Does it make the change it to those panels which you have changed manually? Or how it's...
So you mean if I change the